Either way, what a way to return to YouTube. Hello, everyone. Let me get my music going, which is what I was trying to do when everything decided to break. I was trying to get the music set up. But let me open. I might have to turn the volume down because I don't remember what the volume is set to in my media player. Might be set really high. It is set fairly high. That should be good. Let me know if that's not high enough. Hello, everybody. I'm so happy to be back. I've missed you guys. And look, my model's got some updates. I have a new hairstyle. It clips with the glasses, so the glasses got taken off. I also have new ears. They're bigger. They're more like Maine Coon ears, which is what I was going for. But there's new textures on the hair and on the tail for what little you can see of it as well. I went with a more anime cel-shaded kind of look. I didn't want to do a big reveal for this one because Hana's VTuber debut is coming up over the weekend, and I didn't want to take away from that because that's going to be a big, big, super special event that I'm so excited about. His model looks so, so good. You'll get to see more of this model and the updates to the other models and a couple new outfits come my next karaoke stream, which is in the works. I am currently planning it, but I don't know exactly when it's going to happen because there's a lot of new stuff that I'm going to be doing with it that's going to take a little bit of time to get made and get together. So also, just a real quick heads up, the sub alert is currently not working and the pat widget is currently not working. I'm gonna get those fixed for Thursday. I'm not quite sure why they broke, but they broke. But aside from that, not much new going on. Hana and I went away for his birthday, which was really nice. It was just overnight, but we went to the library and then we hung out at the hotel and made use of the giant bathtub in the hotel room, which was really nice. And his birthday was super chill. He streamed with his friends, but we went out to dinner before that, and we went to this local barbecue place near us. He got a whole rack of ribs. I got steak. Which I usually get steak when we're there. They also have these really nice cinnamon donuts that they make that are so good. You can get them in packs of like 3, 6, and 9. So I got a 3-pack for myself. Hana got like a giant slice of cake that he didn't finish. I would have finished it for him, but it was chocolate and I don't like chocolate cake. But anyway, we're going to be doing some world building today, and I'm actually planning on actively building some cities and some other places in my world because my game is officially starting next month. Yay! I had to refill my roster of players. We had a player back out, so I had to fill the spot, and we ended up spending last Monday getting his character together and getting an idea of what he wanted to play. So I will be spending some time finally finishing up the starting quest line and the stuff in between while they're traveling. I don't actually like McDonald's. I haven't liked McDonald's since I was little. Usually I get cravings for Burger King, especially now that the Burger King near us is finally cooking their burgers properly again. Like for a year or two, the person that was cooking the burgers was always making them super dry, and I did not like them, and now they're really good. So it's hard because I'll also be like, I want Five Guys. But Five Guys is expensive, especially nowadays. But we're gonna do... I'm so excited to start this game. I have so much planned, especially because a lot of my focus is going to, well, there's the main plot line of building the guild, and because that's like the end all for the game, like once they max out the guild's rank, that is the end of the game. I think Burger King makes the best burgers. Wendy's has the best chicken. Unless it's, let me rephrase that. Wendy's has the best regular chicken. If you want real good fried chicken, go to Popeyes. But so the main quest, the main storyline is going to be building up the guild, which means I'm not doing a BBEG. I've done 2 or 3 campaigns now. Only one of them was finished all the way through, and it had a BBEG, and even then I felt like the ending to it was rushed, because at the time we had met some new people that we wanted to play with, and they were really interested in playing, and I didn't want to make them wait, so I feel like I rushed the end of the game so that I could accommodate them, which isn't their fault. I'm a people pleaser, and I did not tell them to wait. I wanted that campaign to go on for another year, but it got to the point where I was like, I've gotta close things up so I can start a new game. And then I had 8 players, and I could not handle 8 players. That was a nightmare. That was a BBEG on top of personal quests, and me trying to fit everybody into the main story somewhere, and me realizing that there are way too many people and I cannot handle this number of players. Which sucked, because I didn't like having to ask people to back out of the game. But it came down to it that me as a DM, I needed those people to give me the space to work. And it was just got to the point where I was just like all over the place, trying to do way too much and take on too much. At that point in time, I was also playing every week instead of every other week, which that on top of, I don't think I was doing YouTube at the time, because I think this was the start of when I was getting sick, so the channel was put on hold. But even then, it was like all my free time was going towards game prep. I feel like I wasn't having any free time to myself. I was going from one game to the next, and I felt like I didn't have any time to breathe in between. So I asked 2 players to back out for that game and told them that the next game I would shuffle people around so that they could play, so that I wasn't being overwhelmed. Then things kind of got to the point where 2 people ended up not having schedule conflicts and not being able to meet up with us at the time that we were set to play, which is Mondays. And they backed out of the game, so I now had space. I've figured out my limit of 6 players. I can do 6 players comfortably and bring in guests every now and then. So, like, I'm gonna have my mom guest in and play at some point. I'm gonna have a couple other friends guest in and play at some point. And what I usually do, I can handle a lot of players once in a while. Not every week, but once in a while. So what I like to do is the very final session, I like to bring back all my guests. And I do one big, giant battle or party or whatever at the end that everybody can kind of chill and have fun together to see the end of the campaign before we move on to the next, which is always the fun part. That's when I can handle a lot of people. And even then, not everybody's able to make it. But I did that for my first campaign. I brought everybody that had guested in back for the final fight, and that final fight was so massive. To be fair, they were fighting Orcus, who is the demon prince of the undead. I bought that Orcus figure for $75. I was very upset because it was pre-painted and I wanted to paint it myself, but they didn't have it unpainted, so I had to buy it pre-painted. It is still, I only just recently had to put it away because Morgan started knocking over all of my minis, and eating them. He broke 2 of them. I have to glue them back together. I don't play in person that much anymore. When we were doing my first campaign, we had a setup where we had a monitor lying on its back on the table with the maps on it. And then we had a webcam set kind of over top. I don't know why I'm moving my hands like you guys can see where my hands are. But we had a webcam set looking down at the monitor, and we had the minis on top of the monitor. And that's how I used to run my games. But that was a lot to set up every week. Poor Hana having to carry his computer down from upstairs just so that we could get everything set up downstairs. I would love to get our basement finished so that we can have like a dedicated D&D space. My dad has offered to build us a box for the monitor to make it safer, but I honestly really want to get a big dedicated D&D table, like one of the ones that comes apart. But that's something for the future. Anyways, so tonight you're going to see I'm going back through and forth through a couple different windows. I'll go over what I'm using. So obviously you guys know Foundry. I've been using this the entire time that I've been setting up this game. This is the program that I'm going to be running the game in. This is the loading screen that players will come in on. Eventually I'm going to have like little pieces of paper sticking out of the top here with like their tokens on them. Because everybody's tokens are done. I do have to add Shade real quick though. Let me actually get him added. So all of my files got moved around. There we go. There he is. So all of my players have tokens now. And I bought these wonderful token frames off of Etsy. I don't remember the person's name off the top of my head, but I can pull up Discord real quick because I sent it to Hana, and I can tell you who made them so that if you want to go to their store and get them yourself, you can. I also just like to shout out the people who made the stuff because, oh my god, are these token frames amazing. Why am I so sniffly tonight? So these token frames are by Cons Art Commission, C-O-N-S Art Commission. They are wonderful. They're so pretty. I haven't bought all of the ones that they have yet because I don't have the Druid one. Now these were made for D&D classes, but they work really well for Foundry or for Daggerheart. So like Hana is a Seraph, which is kind of cleric-y. This is technically the Paladin token frame. And then Blair is a witch, but she very much fits with the creepy necromancer one that this person made. And then Bodhi is a guardian, which is kind of like a mix between paladin and warrior. Darmok is a sorcerer. He's also part Galapa, part Dracona. There is a video game reference in there that I am not going to spoil for my players, but if you get it, you get it. I don't think any of my players are in chat right now, so... there's Marble Pickles, who is our wonderful clown ranger, who is being played by Mel, and then Shade, who is being played by Izumi's fiance. He is a dwarf rogue, which surprised me because Tux usually plays paladins, and I've yelled at him about playing something out of his comfort, so... Which I really have no room to complain because my go-tos are Bard, Ranger, or Warlock. To be fair, I have played other classes. I have a Paladin, I have a Artificer that I was playing for a little while, my little tiefling Artificer named Tinker. They called her Tink for short. But, I don't know, I like to push my players to play something they haven't played before so that they can get the most out of the game. So, one of the other programs that I'm going to be having open tonight is Adobe. Just Adobe Acrobat. This is the PDF that I use for building settlements. I copied all of the roll tables into Foundry so I can roll in Foundry so you guys can actually watch me roll. But this is by Nord Games. They also have one for world building coming out that I'm planning to get as soon as it's on their website. But it's a bunch of tables that just kind of help you build settlements and towns and villages. It takes time, Eli. You've got to find a good DM who's willing to, first of all, teach you. There's not a lot of DMs out there that are patient enough to teach new players. I pride myself on being able to play new players. Play new players to teach new players. Yeah, see, Hana and I do that too, where we'll fill in whatever's needed. Daggerheart's a little more open, that you don't have to worry about, you know, the typical party makeup of healer, tank, DPS. You know, it's play what you want, and it's the DM's job to scale and set up combat to fit the party. But yeah, the biggest thing you need to find a DM who's willing to teach, who's comfortable teaching, and is a good teacher, because some DMs can get very... There are a lot of people out there that it takes repetition to memorize something or learn how to do something. I had a player who, for the first 6 months of the first game that she played in with us, I would have to remind her how to do combat. And that's not her fault. Some people are just wired that way, that it takes a lot of repetition to learn how to do something. I'm a visual learner, so it takes doing for me to learn how to do something properly. So not all DMs are patient enough to keep doing that. The way that I run my games now is that unless you're a very, very new player, all of my current players have played D&D before. So I expect them to be able to grasp the basics of Daggerheart very quickly. But again, I will help them. And the way that I do that is I will tell them, I will aid you up until you're level 3. Once you hit level 3, I expect you to know what you're doing. Now, if you were a new player who's never played a TTRPG before, I would never do that to you. I would help you the entirety of your first game. And then when you get into your second game, I mean campaign, not one session. I mean full campaign. When you get into your second campaign, then I will treat you like a player who knows what they're doing. But there are just DMs out there that just don't know how to be patient with people and get frustrated when they have to explain stuff over and over again. And then the last program we're going to be using tonight, and I'm actually going to change, is a program called Loreforge. Now, the reason I'm using Loreforge, and I'll click on the first... Yes, getting new players to actually roleplay is the difficult part, which is why I'll usually, if I'm teaching somebody new how to play the game, I will usually pull in at least 1 or 2 other people that are familiar with the game. So when I ran a game for the council, it was me, Tanner, Boot, Daft, and Mona. And I asked Mona to kind of push the others to roleplay, to show them how things work, and kind of help them get more confident. And she was great at that. I will always bring in a player or 2 who are used to doing that. Like my husband. My husband is very good at helping new players learn to roleplay. So is Kraz. And just kind of help them learn and kind of pull them out of their shell, so to speak. So this program is actually more for book writing. I've been using it because I've been working on a novel concept that's based in the world that I'm running my game in. I haven't decided if it's going to stay a novel or if I'm going to switch mediums and maybe try to make a game. I was considering making a visual novel with it. I don't know. I also know that there's somebody who's put out the the coding for RPG Maker to make something akin to Fire Emblem, and that would be fun to do. I have never made a game before in my life. I've messed around with RenP a little bit, but not to the point of being super confident in it. So I don't know. The other thing is I could turn it into like a podcast or something. I don't know. It's a story idea that's been in my head since I was 12 that one day I swear I will finish and get on paper somewhere. But I've been using it to kind of condense my notes for writing locations, because if I do this in Foundry, you guys have seen my notes in Foundry. Like, if I come down to, these are my notes in Foundry from being just rolling up a city. And as great as this is, it's very, very threadbare. It's very basic information-y. Now, if you look at some of the other places that I wrote before I started using this PDF to roll up my cities, I have these beautiful, like, descriptions of the cities, and I want to keep those. I want to continue to do something like that while still having all of this information available for my players if they want to look up a place that they've been to, a place that they know intimately because they're from that place. But I don't want to leave these like really, right now I actually made it so that they can't see this journal just because it needs so much cleaning up. So I want to take these basic notes, put them in LoreForge, and then take the basic notes from LoreForge and write something more simple. Not more simple, but more, not a lore dump, not just an information dump. So that's one of the reasons I'm using LoreForge right now. Is just I'm putting my world notes in there so that I can then take them back into Foundry and make them prettier and easier to digest. Because otherwise they're just going to have this mess of notes while I'm working and not going to be able to understand any of it. So I'm going to jump around the world map a little bit, because while the players are starting in the neutral zone down here, in fact, where my mouse is right now is exactly where their fort is, they're going to be moving up for their first quest through this area, up through these mountains, through this small village or town, I haven't decided if it's a village or town, up to this city, and then to the capital. That is the plan. They are, and nobody's here at this point to get the spoilers. They are going to be escorting someone through those areas, and with all the small places that they're stopping in, like when they traverse the mountains, I'm going to have a, Daggerheart uses something called environments. And the way that environments work, let me see if I can pull one up. We'll just use this one. So the way that environments work, like this abandoned grove, is that they have things that you can do that start like a countdown. They have a certain number of turns to get through this area before, say, a monster is summoned and they have to do a fight. And then there's stuff in their way that's going to make it difficult, like these barbed vines. And then every action roll that the players make ticks down the countdown. I did something like this in the Sunday game I was running until that fell apart, where the idea was that every floor with a recruitable character that they ended up on, they were going to have to fight through the environment to get to the other side to stop the natural disaster that was happening in the room that they were in. Because every floor that there was a fight on was based around a different natural disaster. There was like a firestorm, there was a thunderstorm, raging ocean, tsunami kind of deal. That campaign fell apart and never ended, so I'm holding on to that dungeon idea to see if I can maybe hopefully work it into this game and use it, because I was really proud of that whole concept, but we'll see. So the neutral zone itself right now only has the fort. So they're not going to meet any people on this side of the mountain, except for maybe some loose bandits that have kind of come into the neutral zone to try to take out travelers. Which is rare. It's more likely they'll run into like wolves or some wild animals. And then I might do a social encounter with the people that they're escorting, and then they'll camp, and then they'll do the mountains. And I try to make travel fun. I'm also trying to make it quick so that it's not like... We had a DM that ran a game, and they were very realistic about the travel, so we spent like 3 sessions on a boat without much to do. So I don't want to do that. So it's more likely that depending on how many fights they end up in or how they handle certain environments, that by the end of the first session of them traveling, they'll end up at the end of the mountain. Because the plan is the very first session of the game is going to introduce them to each other. They're going to get their first job. They're going to leave. There's going to be a fight to teach them the combat system. And then that will be camp, and then they'll go into the mountains. And that will be the first environment traversal. And then that will probably be the end of the first session or halfway through the second session, depending on all the... I try to plan for how long something's going to take, but it's very hard when your players are avid role players and could take an hour just talking to each other and getting their characters to get to know each other. So that's the hope. And then once they get into the village, I'm hoping that there's gonna be job boards in every town, city, village that they visit. And I'm planning on there being like job postings in each place that they visit so that they can spend a little time there, make some money, gain some reputation for the guild, and then move on. So since they're escorting someone, it's probably going to be one day in this village, and they're going to have some very quick jobs that they'll probably get done in a session or two, and then the next session will probably be quickly through this forest and into this big city here. And then the next session will be them in the city, maybe give them a couple more jobs that they can do, 1 or 2 days, and then they'll be moving on to the capital. I probably won't roleplay them traveling back unless I feel like I can give them a couple more jobs along the way or something to do along the way that will add to the guild's reputation. But that's the plan anyway. So I've already built Haven. I've already built this capital. So that's already in my notes. I already had a blurb written about Haven before, and then I just did all of the rolling, and I just took everything straight from the PDF. And then I'll go back into the Foundry journal, and I will consolidate this into clearer information. And I'll probably withhold stuff that I don't feel like they don't need to know. Like, I don't think they're going to really care about what the population of the city is. But it's stuff that they are going to need to know when they build up the neutral zone into their own country if they succeed in the first year of the guild. So, but yeah, it's just a way for me to hold on to these notes the way that they are, the way that the PDF presents them. And then the other thing that I really like is I can tie it to what kingdoms they're in or what cultures they're in. I love this program because I can just tie everything together, and if I need to reference something, well, here's the Halidom of Terrace. this is the information on the Halidom that I'm still building. I'm waiting for that PDF that Nord Games is making on world building to come out. And then I can add stuff like, now when I rolled up Haven, I rolled up the number of like important noble families that are going to be there. So eventually I'm going to come back and I'm going to add them in here. I just haven't gotten there. As for native species, I have all of the races that are in my world. For the sake of the fact that I might make this a book, I did change some of the names, like the Infernus are Infernals in the book. That's just in case this does actually become a book. If this does become a book, I'm gonna have to change so many landmark names because there are so many Fire Emblem references on my map. Sorry, I needed a drink. So I think we're gonna get into, I think we're gonna work from the largest to the smallest. So I finished Haven, so that's the capital that's right here. So I think we're gonna do this city next, and there's a name for the city. Let me go find my map, like the bigger version of my map that I can actually see the names of places on, so that I can make the thing. Where's my map? I am horribly unorganized, so I apologize. Okay, what is the name of this place? Taurus, that was the name of it. Okay, so we are going to be making the city of Taurus. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to make a new location. We are going to name it as Taurus. Why is my caps lock on? And we're just going to name it, category is city? Did I make the other one cap? I don't remember. Okay. So, and then for the tag, we're going to say the Halidom of Terrace. We're just gonna, okay. And then I will add the fancy writing later. So for now, I'm gonna go through and add all my species because there is no separation of races in this world. And it's just easier that way. And then for cultures, we want the Halidom of Terrace. And then the rest can be added later. I'm just gonna get rid of all these so that I can set them up the way that I want. So for now, we're gonna go into the PDF and we're going to find, scroll, cities. Okay. So for starting with the cities, and I'm not gonna read all this information. I don't know if the people who made this in Foundry, are they interactive? This is just a picture. I think with specific modules I can make it interactive. I believe there is a module that will do that. I haven't sat down and messed around with it yet. It's something to look at in the future as I'm still learning the modules that I have downloaded, like the calendar system and all that. It's something I definitely might play around with in the future if I can find it. But for now, we're going to do things. So we're going to start with basic information. So, sorry, I'm going back and forth through too much stuff. We're just going to make a thing here that says basic information. And then I'm going to add a table. I'm going to get rid of this third cell because we don't need it. And then we're going to toggle header column. Okay. And then, so our first role is going to be the origin. What is the origin of this place. So this city was built. So the way that the different nations in this continent work is all of the capitals were founded after the breaking of the world as starting points for each new country. The Lazuli family founded the kingdom. The Grand Exalt founded the Halidom, and then the Conclave founded the original Conclave founded the Etherweave, the Alliance of the Etherweave. And then after several hundred years, as the population kind of regrew, they spread out. So I think we're going to say that the city started as a village. So we're going to go natural progression. So not all of these am I going to roll on. I just realized that it wasn't looking at the PDF. I apologize. If you guys notice that I'm talking about something and you can't see it, please tell me, because I don't always realize that it doesn't switch. I'm still learning how this thing works. So some of them you can... The way that this works is it's very versatile in that you can just pick what you want if it fits your vision, or you can roll through it if you aren't sure. So I'm going to start with... It's not what I wanted to do. Clicking on the wrong thing. I'm going to start with... Oh, you're going to be a bitch, aren't you? I'm trying... Okay, we're going to... Copy and paste this to the hardware. So this is origin. And we're just going to copy paste this. I'm going to... Why is it so weird about copying this information? And of course the copy is weird because of the columns in the PDF, but that's fine. Okay. Alright, so that's the origin. And I love that it autosaves, so I don't have to worry about losing anything. Okay, so the next thing on the list is priority. What is the city's priority? So I'm just going to type that in here real quick. And then... I think I'm going to roll for this one because I'm not quite sure. I could say faith. I could say trade. I could go the normal routes. But if I roll for it, it'll let me kind of naturally figure out where the idea is going and plan for jobs and stuff for when the players are there. So I think we're going to roll for that. So I'm going to go back to my roll tables here. We're going to go to city, step 1. I want priority, so I'm going to draw a result. And okay, we rolled a 1. So the priority is control. Oh, this is going to be fun. Okay, so we're going to copy this information. And the other reason I copy this information that way is so that when I do rolls, like for the law enforcement roll, I can come back and reference this and know what I have as my bonuses to those rolls. Okay. So next is age. So the capital is old. The world is only about 970 years old. So I would say the city is probably about the upper See, old fits, because, like, we've got 300 to 1,000. That's a wide window. But it also takes a long time to turn a city into a capital. But we also have to consider the amount of time that people have had to move and spread out, because as time goes on, people need more places to live. So I think we're going to still go old. It's not as old as the capital, because the capital is very much up there. Okay. What's next? Next is the size. Do we have any bonuses to size? We do not. Alright, I think we're going to roll for this one to see how big this city is. Six. So it is a small city. Okay. So we're going to go with small. Rolling for it sometimes instead of just picking it also makes sure that I don't pick the same things over and over again. Okay, population capacity. Okay, so we are going to give... We're going to roll on the population capacity, which is going to possibly increase our population by a lot. 11, so triple. So we're going to multiply. Yes, that's one of the reasons I'm doing this, is that I can take the information that I'm rolling for, and then when I write up the actual blurb on the city, I can connect those dots. Okay, so this is triple, multiply by 3. Oh God. Where's my calculator? I can't math. 16,000 times 3 is 48,000. Okay. Okay. I cannot math. All right. And then we get into outside the city, which I believe... I'm just going to check real quick. I believe with Haven, I made that... Did I make that its own thing? No, I didn't. Okay. So this is all just one. Okay. I know some of them I separated by header. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so number of outside the city rolls. Because it is small, we have 4 outside the city rolls. Okay. Okay. So let me go pull that up. So, number 1, 16, is a hermit's cottage. Okay. So let me go find that on our list. I'm going to copy that into the information. Okay, and then next role is a medical camp. Okay. That seems about right. This is a really religious country. Okay. So we copy that over. One of the things I plan to do is, like, because each city is going to have a different number of districts with different things in each of those districts, I want to give each city a theme for the way that they name their districts. And I did this with the world originally when I started building it before the breaking of the world. And I changed everything for the sake of Daggerheart. Where one of the cities that I had been building at the time, the theme was flowers, so all of the different districts were named after different flowers. Okay. $17, so makeshift settlement. Somebody's coming down the stairs. I think that's a cat. Okay. Now we have one more roll in this section. Let's see what we get. None! Okay, so we only have 3. Cool. Alright. Next is the stewardship of the city. Okay, let's see what things are like at this city. Four. Minimal, okay. So the city's functioning. Yeah. You can hear Morgan thumping as he comes down the stairs. He's gotten so big. We did find some cord covers that we're going to try. They're supposed to be here tomorrow. That we're going to try to cover some of the cords to the electronics to try to keep him from eating them. Because the citrus spray is just not working. And considering he's now killed a monitor. I needed a new monitor anyway, and now that I've moved the old monitor over and it's just being used as, like, secondary monitor instead of main monitor, things seem to be... Also, my new monitor is 27 inches. It's much bigger than the old one, and I'm loving it. I was playing BG3 earlier today, and I was like, oh my god, everything looks so good. Because the monitor that's now my secondary monitor is, like, 7 or 8 years old. I'm considering playing BG3 on the channel, by the way, so you guys gotta let me know if that's something you want to see. Alright. Minimal. So this is going to add to some of our rolls. We still haven't put up a new Ethernet cable. I mean, it seems to be working just fine. Oh, my music stopped. Let me go put on something, some more music. Hold on. There we go. I play modded BG3 too, so I just have to remember to turn on streamer mode so that you guys don't get full ass shots. And can you not hear the music? Hold on, I'll turn it up. Let me know if that's better. Oh, that would explain it. It's not set to my headphones for some reason. Okay, now you should be able to hear the music. For some reason, OBS likes to, like, forget what my headphone, what my audio and input and output settings are set to. So sometimes it just is like, you don't have a microphone selected. What are you talking about? Okay. Alright, so that is the stewardship. That's going to give us a -4 to our next roll, I believe, because next roll is overall condition. Yes, general condition. Okay. I'm typing in the wrong spot. Okay. So we're going to come in here and we're going to pull up general condition. We're going to draw a result. Well, you can't do negative numbers, so I guess that's a 1. This is great. This city sucks. Yeah, see, Eli, that's why sometimes when I start streaming you can't hear me. It's because OBS decided to say fuck you. Alright, so we're going squalid. This city sucks! My poor players would be like, what the fuck? This is supposed to be the super peaceful religious country and this city is terrible. Okay, -2 to district condition rolls. Alright. What is next? Environment. Okay, so we already know where this is on the map, and it's not coastal. It's like a little ways back from the coast, because there are coastal villages. Like, one of the first villages they're going to be stopping in is a coastal village. So I think this counts more as plains than coastal, even though it's like maybe half a day from the coast. Alright, let's go plains. Okay. Fortification. Okay. So let's roll for the city's fortifications. Do I have a negative on any of those? No. Okay. I could see that, JD. Could maybe add it to one of the jobs that they have, that they get while they're there. Okay, so we've got things out of order in this list for some reason. Okay, fortification. Okay, so the city is fortified, but the fortifications probably aren't very well maintained, considering the current state of the city. This is great. Ah, come on. I will say, the smaller the place that we're building, the less rolls there's going to be. So, cities take a long time, meanwhile villages don't. Okay, next. Merchant. The Merchant Square. Okay. Or the Market Square. Merchant Square, Market Square. Same fucking thing. Everything is out of order for some reason. Okay, let's see here. Draw result. Spacious. City's got a big fucking market. I kind of want to not. Well, I guess if it's a not well-maintained city, well, here come the children running for their food because the feeder just went off. Hi, Lucina. It would make sense for it to be spacious, but not a lot of people to be there. Like, they're struggling to get people to actually come in and sell things. Excuse me. Oh, please, allergies, don't. I can. I'm trying not to, unless it's something that I feel doesn't really fit. I can see the Market Square having been, like, the big draw of this city in its heyday. But maybe now it's not so full because people don't want to come here because there's no point when the city is poor as fuck. I need to run the ice maker tomorrow. I don't like lukewarm water. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna say because of the condition of the city, I'm gonna choose the vendor stall acquisition, and we're gonna do first come, first served without a fee, because they are desperate to get people in here to sell things so that the market, so that the people can get the things that they need. I think that's how we're gonna do that. Thank you. Yeah, it's getting warm here again. We got snow yesterday. But it's getting warm again. The weather just can't make up its mind. Which is sending my sinuses all over the place. I think it's supposed to rain again. No, we're supposed to get more snow. Guess it's gonna get cold again tomorrow. I'm so done with snow. Make it go away. Okay, merchant overflow. There is no merchant overflow. I'm not even gonna roll on this table. I'm not gonna take an option from this table. I'm just going to say there is no merchant overflow. Because there are not enough merchants coming through. I want nice weather. But the way that spring works in my area is we're going to get nice weather for like a week, and then the rainy season is going to start, and it's going to be nothing but migraines. Okay. Underground passages. Let's roll on it. Did we not roll for general condition? Did I skip general condition? Hold on, now I have to check. I feel like I skipped general condition. I did. How did that happen? Did I? No, I got it. It's squalid. I'm just blind, apparently. Don't mind me. Okay, so underground passages. Eli, I've got you beat. I was trapped in my house for 2 months. Like, the snow gets really bad here. Hana could go out. Hana managed to dig the car out. I wasn't going anywhere. I couldn't get into the car because of how tall the snowdrifts were. It was not safe for me to go out there because Hana knew I'd fall on the stairs. I'm a klutz. When we had our dog and I'd take her out at night and there was snow on the ground, I would fall every time coming back in. Eventually, my husband started taking her out at night because we both knew that because I couldn't see very well, even with the porch light, I was going to fall on my ass. Okay, do we have any underground passages? We have natural caves below the city. Okay. God, it hasn't even been an hour and I'm losing my voice. You can tell I haven't done this in a while. Okay, natural caves. Oh God, it's doing the thing again. Okay, fine. See, I'm very much an introvert, so I like when I don't have to leave the house. In fact, if I don't have company, and if I don't have a doctor's appointment, I will choose not to leave the house for long lengths of time if I can get away with it. I don't know why this PDF keeps doing this. It's fine. Fine, we'll make it work. See, if I need to walk, I have a treadmill. Okay. Are we on to the next section? Yes, we are on to the community. So we're going to come up here and we're going to make a new section called community. And then we're going to make a new table. We're going to delete this column. We are going to toggle the header column and we are going to toggle the header row. And I do like to go out for walks when it's nice out. But also I have trouble walking because of my back. So I wouldn't be able to walk very far anyways, even with my cane. So when we go out for like the mall and stuff, I'm usually in the wheelchair. Unless I'm like at a point where I feel like I can do the walking without my cane. Unfortunately, that's been very rare lately because I am currently without my pain meds and I can't get any more I do like walks in nice weather. I just can't walk very far. I have severe arthritis in my lower back, and back in November I had a injection to shrink the nerve so that the bone would stop grinding up against the nerve and causing numbness in my leg. It's not 100%. I can walk further than I used to be able to. When we go to the mall, I can maybe manage an hour without my cane before my leg really starts to bother me. So usually for stuff like that, I'm in the wheelchair. But what we're trying to do is combine so that I don't have to get another injection. We're combining that with a pain medication, and I'm currently out because it was a trial period to see how I do. But I see pain management at the end of the month. So I'm gonna get a refill then, and hopefully I will be permanently put on this pain medication, which will help because I was hoping tonight to stream longer than I usually do and go 3 hours instead of 2. Unfortunately, I can't sit up that long because of my back right now. I'm hoping when I get back on the pain medication, I can start doing longer streams, because that's something I really wanted to do, was start doing slightly longer streams and streaming more often. The streaming more often is happening. I'm now adding Thursdays onto the weekly schedule and Saturday afternoons. Okay, so we're starting with population density, and I believe I have a negative to this roll. So let me go... Let me go check real quick. I believe I do. Yes, I have a +1 to population density. Do I have any negatives? Population wealth. Okay, so I have a +1 to population density. So we're gonna roll on that real quick. Six plus 1 is 7, so the city, despite the city being poorly cared for, it's fairly populous. I appreciate you, JD. Like I said, you guys don't have to be here every single stream. Real life comes first. But I love when you are here because it makes me happy. Okay, so populous. And that gives us a +0 to night activity, which is fine. Jesus, excuse me. Why is it when I'm streaming that things decide to start making my sinuses go crazy? Okay. Side note, keep an eye out on Tanner's streams because I bought him a game for his birthday that I've been wanting him to play. He hasn't, he said he would, he doesn't know when he's going to yet. Okay, so, little bit of a change because this book was made for D&D. Instead of using races for the demographics, especially because there is no racial divide in this world, I'm using communities. So, we're gonna roll for our demographic. Yes, I don't think he's gonna stream it this week because his schedule's already out, but I did buy him a really good game. It's a horror game, but it has like live actors in it, and it's so good. It's so scary. I watched God, this game came out a while ago. I think it's like 4 or 5 years old now, but I watched Markiplier and Jacksepticeye both play it, and I think it was the first game that I asked Tanner if he'd played before, and when he said no, I was like, you have to play this game. Ugh, daylight savings drives me crazy. Okay, so let's see what we're looking at here. 8. So that'd be normal distribution. 50% primary community, 25% secondary community. Okay, so considering we're in the plains, let me pull up my communities. It is a city. I don't think I want it to be mostly noble-born, because the nobles are gonna live in... I just heard a big crash. I'm gonna be right back because I think my children are knocking things over. Give me 1 second, guys. What are we messing with?
They're messing with the recyclables.
Okay. Warning. I'm trying to stream. Really, OBS? Fuck you! Damn it! I really have to fix my settings on this thing. Well, that's a clip. We haven't had a short where I've yelled at the cats in a while. Morgan, I swear to God, I will put you in the playpen. And you will stay there the rest of stream. The children were playing with the recyclables. Our recycling bin is full, but we can't put them outside because they haven't come to pick them up. The trash and recyclable people haven't come to pick them up yet. That will be tomorrow. Okay. Anyway. So I think I don't want a lot of nobles. We are also in the city. What is Hearthborn again? Means you come from humble origins, having lived in a small village. Okay, that's not gonna work. Freeborn. No. Okay, I'm thinking Orderborn. Mostly because religious society. So let's do... We're doing normal distribution, so let's do 50%. Let's do 50% Orderborn. And then Let's do... We could do Seabourn since they're so close to the coast. Like, they're not at the coast, but they're close enough to the coast that I could see Seabourn being like the 15%. I just need... Yeah, if you could post them in the Discord server, Eli, I'd appreciate it. I'll go make shorts out of them later. I have to make new emotes for everybody too. Let's see. Let's do 25% Slyborn, since the city's kind of squalid. There's probably gonna be a lot more crime here. So let's do 25% Slyborn, 15% Seabourn, and then what is it, 5% other? 10% other. Okay. I think that works out pretty good. I can't wait till we get more communities. I know all of the... If you look in my journal here, we have all these playtest communities. I know these are becoming official with the book that's coming out this summer. That I think I'm just gonna get the PDF for. I'm not gonna buy the big book like I did for when Dragaheart first came out, just because I think I've used the actual book maybe 3 times. And I usually refer to the PDF, or I'll just pull stuff up here in Foundry. Because I'm usually at my computer anyway, because I run my game digitally. It's been a long time since I've run a game in person. I appreciate all that you do, Eli. Okay, so next is population wealth. Okay, I do have a negative to that, I believe. Let me go check. Let's see. I have a, yes, -6 to population wealth. Okay. Let me roll that real quick. That's gonna be another one. Okay. This city really sucks. This poor city is under some kind of tyrant ruler. Okay, so we are destitute. This whole city is just one that. What's the matter, Lucina? Hi, baby girl. Okay. Okay, so -2 to general crime, which we'll get to in a minute. Oh, Lucina wants window. We had such nice, wonderful, warm days that we were able to open the window upstairs, and Lucina was like so happy for it. The two cats like to sit up there and watch the birds through the screen. And then it got cold and we had to tell them they weren't allowed to sit in the window anymore until it got warm again. My poor cats are very upset. And there's no screens in the windows in the office, so I can't open the windows down here. Okay, visitor traffic. I don't think they're gonna... I'd say I'm gonna pick instead of roll for this, and I'm gonna go groups, because I don't think it's mostly locals, but I also don't see them getting a ton of visitors because of how squalid the city is. I picture a lot of the visitors are like merchants that come through out of pity, mostly, for the customers that they do have that are still loyal and can still afford stuff. But also the people that used to be loyal customers that can't afford stuff. Next is disposition. So this would be their disposition toward outsiders. And I believe something we have affects disposition. +3 to disposition because it's fortified. Okay. So let's see what the locals think of outsiders. They are unfriendly. Wonderful. So it really does suck. This is great. This is gonna be so much fun. There is so much I could do here to cause problems for the party. Especially considering the identity of the person they're going to be escorting. Night activity. Okay, I know visitor traffic gives me +1 to night activity. Populace gives me +0, and I don't think anything up here is going to affect night activity. No. Okay, so we just have a +1. Okay, so 2 to 3 is quiet. Okay, so the night activity, there is some, but it's mostly quiet. We can work with that. Ah! Switching to the wrong windows. Okay, here we go. Okay. Leadership. Okay, so I very much pictured this being very much a mix of a hereditary theocracy, where the idea is that the church is given a lot of power and they do advise the person running the city, but the person running the city is of noble birth and inherited their title. Because the Church of Nymus is held in very high regard in the Halidom because that is the main religion there. So I think I'm going to put hereditary and oligarchy or theocracy so that there's a bit of both. Does that make sense? Like, it's a noble that sits the seat of power, but they defer to the religious leader in this city for almost everything. Law enforcement. I do believe I have something that affects this role. -5 to law enforcement because of the stewardship. Okay. I keep hitting the wrong things. Okay, let's see here. 17 minus 5 is 11, so they have a city watch. Okay. Okay. Anything up here that affects crime? No. Okay, so altogether I have a -3 to the general crime roll. I'm hoping we'll be able to finish this city tonight. Okay. Let's do a quick roll on the general crime table. Well, can't subtract 3 from 1 in this case, so this city is dangerous, which we knew that already. Okay. And the urban encounter rolls are for actual, like, day of gameplay. So I'll just have to make a note of that somewhere when I move this into Foundry. Okay. And we have organized crime. Just gonna draw a result. Thinking? Hit the button. Did we not? There we go. We have a completely secret organized crime group in a city that is dangerous. This is great. Ooh, this is wonderful. I have so many ideas right now. Okay. And I believe that is it for step 2. So we will be moving on to the districts of the city. This is the fun part. This is where we really get to actually build what's in the city. Okay, so we're gonna add another one. Districts. Okay. And then, let's see here. Okay. I believe I have a negative to district rolls somewhere. Right here. Now, -1 to number of districts rolls. Okay. So, how many do I get for a... Let me set up the table here. Okay. Okay. Many tables here. City's number of districts can indicate, including what the city feels. Roll on the table below to find out how many districts are in your city. Okay. So, number of districts. Okay. 10 minus 1 is 9. So we have 3 districts in our city. Okay. Okay. District types. Okay, so I have to roll this 3 times in order to figure out what districts we have in our city. So let's see here. We're going to draw our first result. 12. Which is an upper class district. Okay. Yeah, grab. Okay. Okay. Next. Is this, I was hoping we'd get slums. That's perfect. Okay. And I think I'm gonna pick the last one and make a temple district, because that makes sense for it being a religious city. Okay. And then I'm gonna take the temple as our last one because it makes sense. Is there no negative rolls, or was there no other extra rolls on there? No, okay. So next is our district condition modifier. So we're gonna do this. I believe I'm actually gonna copy it from Haven, because I did this in Haven and I did this a specific way in Haven. Yeah, here we go. And then I'm gonna give it a header. I think I did 3. I'm just gonna copy paste this and then just there we go. Jeez, excuse me. Okay, so district condition. I'm gonna have to go back and copy these. So I'm just gonna write down what I get and then go back and get them afterward. So because this is a squalid area, we're gonna do -2 to the condition roll. I believe the slums get a D4 on. Okay. 7. -2 is 5. So it's 1 step worse. There is no step worse than squalid. So, yeah. We're gonna go... just copy this. Okay, district entry. Lightly guarded. Okay. Which makes sense because it's the temple district. We're gonna roll on district crime. Is equal to the same city's general crime level, which is dangerous, which is somewhere there it is. Housing. I'm gonna choose, in this case, I'm gonna say it's limited, because I think the only people that would be housed in this district would be the people that work here, like the priests and the clerics and stuff like that. Okay, so how many notable locations are we getting? So we're gonna roll on that. Do we have any? No, okay. So is there any notable locations here? 1, which would probably be the temple, if I'm honest. Okay, so we're gonna grab... Is that the end of my music? Let me copy this and then I will go start the next round of music. Okay. Alright. Now we get into what locations are actually in the districts. So I have to scroll through this and find the temple district and what is listed. So in a city, the temple district gets either a regular temple or a great temple. Now the capital has a great temple, so I think I'm gonna give them just a regular temple. And then they get an archive/library. And then for additional locations, I believe we get to roll that based on, what else do we have? Oh, hired help. Let's do hired help, Hands of the Divine. Now, the difference that I'm doing in my game compared to like D&D is the hired help is going to be someone in the city that they can recruit. And it might not be their first visit here, it could be a future visit here, but at some point there's going to be someone in this city that they can recruit to the guild. In which case, it's going to be some type of healer. Okay. So how many additional locations do I get? I might have to scroll up and find out because I didn't look For Squalid, I don't think we get a lot. Or small. We get 2 rolls per district. Okay, cool. Sorry, a lot of scrolling. So let's go roll and see what we get for the Temple District. So we get a tailor. This would be the person making all the robes for the priests. And we get a magic shop. Okay. I'm gonna say we're gonna make this a bookshop. Okay. And then location notability for the tailor. Here we go. Okay, so let me roll on that. Top-notch marketing. Okay. That makes sense. Okay. And then we're gonna roll on the size of the place of worship, which we already have, I believe. Yeah, temple. Okay. And then place of worship frequency, because this is a fairly religious city, I'm going to pick fervent. Okay, so now we can copy most of this table onto the next district. We don't need the place of worship size. So our next district is the slums. And then I'm just gonna boop. Okay. Okay, so we're going to start over with district conditions. They are also equal. I think everything's going to end up equal. Everything's going to end up squalid. Okay. District entry. I'm going to say that this district is open. I don't think there's going to be anyone here trying to stop people from going into the slums because it's the slums. We're going to scroll back up to... Yeah, this is the part that has a lot of scrolling, unfortunately. I gotta stop. I'm sitting here swinging my chair and I gotta stop doing that because it affects my model. Alright. Let's see here. Where's it? Here we go. Yeah, I'm gonna say it's open. They're not gonna stop people from coming in and out of the slums. District crime. I don't see this being anything safer than dangerous because it's the slums. I'm gonna say that the housing, there's a lot of housing in the slums. Like the housing is, the slums is, I'm gonna say moderate. I won't say extensive, but I am gonna say moderate. Okay. And then notable locations. Let's roll on that. 1. Okay, that's what I thought. I think all of them are going to end up being like that. Okay, so what is included with the slums is a good question. So, included with the slums is a butcher, a house of leisure, which is essentially a brothel, an inn, and a tavern. They are not the same thing. Okay. Despite, you know, what D&D would have you believe, they are not the same thing. Okay. Additional locations. We get 2 rolls on additional locations. So let's see what we're gonna get here. 5. So we got a smithy. That'll come in handy. And we already have a house of leisure. Give me something else. My god, stop rolling ones. A doctor. Okay, we could do that. Doctor / apothecary. It's not even a difference. It's just, historically speaking, a tavern is a place to go drinking, and an inn is a place to spend the night. You can have a tavern and inn as one building, but you usually will see them separately, and they are not the same thing. Tavern is not synonymous with inn. Most taverns will not have places for you to stay the night, unless they specifically say tavern and inn. But most fantasy novels and other types of modern media tend to lump the two together. Okay, so let's see. Location notability. Let me roll on that. More than meets the eye. Okay. There's just something about that smithy. Okay, and now we only have one more district to do. So we're going to copy all this, and we are going to do the upper class district. And I feel like the upper class district is just everybody that doesn't live in the slums. Then we're going to do a header. I think I'm gonna pick and make this a little bit nicer than the rest of the city. Not by much, but this would probably be where the person leading the city lives. So I kind of want to give them, I have to scroll up a lot to find it, but I want to give them do it this way. Here we go. I think we're gonna make it decent instead of squalid, because this is gonna be where the person ruling the city lives. They're gonna want this area to be a little bit nicer looking. They're gonna want the people in charge of cleaning the city to pay more attention to this area than to somewhere else. Okay, then we're gonna scroll all the way back down. I think we're gonna make this guarded. Because they're gonna want to keep the general masses out of this area. For district crime, I'm gonna say it's also a little bit better than I'm gonna say it's common, but it's not as dangerous here because the City Watch is gonna put a lot of their focus on this area. housing. This probably has more of the city's housing in it. Well, yeah, I would say it probably does. Where is the housing? Am I in the wrong spot? I'm in the wrong spot. Right. Here it is, housing. We're gonna say this is also moderate. I don't think it's extensive, because I think I'm honestly almost tempted to say it's limited, because it's limited to the people that can afford it, which is not a lot of people, considering the state of the city. In fact, I almost want to go back and change the slums to be extensive, because there's going to be a lot more poverty in this city. Yeah, I think I'm going to change that. Okay. Alright, district notable locations. This one has 2. Okay, we can work with that. Especially because there's only 2 extra rolls. Okay. So now we're going to go find the upper class district and find out what it comes with. It'll be at the very bottom of this section. Okay, so it comes with a bank and exchange. A baker, a tailor, a luxury furnishing store, and a doctor/apothecary. And then additional locations. We get 2, so I'm going to roll for those. We get a butcher. And we get... wrong one. A weaver. Okay. And then let's see why these locations are notable. Okay, so the butcher is an entertaining... That makes sense. A lot of places, like in medieval ages, would go to the butchers to watch them cut the meat. So it would be entertaining. Because there wasn't a lot for entertainment in the medieval period. It also was very, very educational to watch a butcher at work. There is a really cool series of shows, series that I think it was on BBC, but you can find it on YouTube now, where they had like this little strip of shops in England, and they had a bunch of families come and live from like the Victorian era all the way up through like the 80s. I think it was either the 70s or the 80s, and they would like live like they were living in those eras for a day or two in each of those different eras. And it was really educational, and one of them was a butcher, and it was so cool to watch him and learn from him as to what he was doing. I love shit like that. I really do. And then top-notch marketing for the weaver. Okay. That is all of our districts, which means aside from the fancy stuff, this city is pretty much together. I just have to do the fancy descriptions and move all this information. But that's a great place to start with this city, and it was just in time because we are at the end of stream. So that is it for tonight, guys. I will see you Thursday for more Persona 3 Reload FemC mod, and then hopefully we'll see you guys on Saturday. I mean, Han and I will see you guys Saturday, most definitely. When it comes to Let's Voice Act, I don't know exactly who's available yet. If it ends up being that both... Well, if Izumi's not available, we're not playing Persona. It's Izumi's pick. But if Mel is also not available, then we might shift stream for me and Hana to the evening slot and just have that stream go a little bit longer. I will make an announcement as to what's going on with that when I know. But in the meantime, that is it for tonight. Mata ne!